Hi, this is Brandon Marlin here from Peavey Hollywood, and I'm here with a brand new band that Peavey just started working with, the Florida Georgia line. I'm here with Brian, Dan, and Tom. How you guys doing today? Good to see you guys. Well, they're in town for a Stagecoach you're here for, as well as a performance on the Jay Leno show tomorrow. So it must be exciting times for you guys. And, you know, we were just curious a little bit, you know, how you hooked up with Brian and Tyler and how the band came to conception. So.
I actually met them a few years back through Tom, our bass player. Was a buddy of mine, and we played for a couple different people, and they happened to be at a show, and they're like, man, we love the way you play, and you know, to come on tour, I'm like, who are these people? And then we started talking. I was like, wow, I kind of like what they had going on, and I've kind of been on board ever since.
I was a homeless musician wandering down the street with a backpack and apparently a keyboard now. Now I've was out with another artist, and the guys were opening up kind of as an acoustic duo with a round robin of different musicians, and so I met these guys. I met you at well, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, it was a special
but we met otherwise. So anyway, yeah. Love what they did, love the music, love the band, and they needed an extra guy to go out and expand their musical coverage. So I came out in February and been out doing a whole bunch of different stuff. Good time.
Yeah. I met the guys through another gig. I filled in as a bass player and met a guy who moved to Nashville 2 years later and became friends with them, and he invited me to live with them for a bit, and they just had started getting going, writing songs and playing in town, so I'd play whenever I could, just local bars and stuff. And then as it grew, I kind of perfect timing, happened to be ready for another gig, so I hopped on with them full time about 2 years ago, and then kind of hooked up with Bonds. I met him through another friend, and so it's been kind of like, you know, we met Dan through Bonds, so it's a kind of line of family tradition. There's a country plug.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And the Florida Georgia line had an interesting beginning in that a lot of the way they came up was through indie downloads, and you know, we know that the song "Cruise" had over 200,000 indie downloads before record labels even came in. So, you know, to a lot of aspiring indie artists out there and performers, you know, we're just wondering if you could talk about that and you know, the interesting way to come up as an indie artist as opposed to a major label. So
Yeah, it was really cool the way that happened. Like Tyler and Brian, their vision for this thing was it was different than most Nashville acts, or most people like, okay, cool, we get a record deal and they give you a bus and you tour the country and there you go, hopefully make it. And their mentality was like, we're gonna go out and play for anyone who wants to hear us. And we were all, you know, we all thought that was great, and we were touring the country in BK's Tahoe. There were 6 of us with Tyler's little auto detailed trailer behind us, and like we'd go out, 10 people would show up, and we're like, yeah, 10 people. And then we'd drive 12 hours across the country because some little radio station said, yeah, we'll talk to you guys. So we'd go out and we'd do that, and next time we go back to that city, those 10 people turned into 30, and those 30 were 100. And next thing you know, we're like, what is going on? It was, yeah.
I'm going to throw in a little.
Yeah.
So the guys were just big on just playing as many shows. We probably played over 300 shows before a label even talked to them, which is pretty rare. You know, nowadays it seems like bands kind of want to skip that process of putting in the time and just playing as many shows as you can just for the experience and exposure. And I remember BK and Tyler always had this expression. We would leave a Chick-fil-A or somewhere, and they'd grab a CD and like see a family walking by, and they'd always say like one fan at a time, you know. And so they would talk to everybody and just promote themselves at gas stations. They'd see a cute girl and be like, "Hey, what's up? By the way, here's our CD. Check us out. Come to a show." And so they were just big on plugging themselves and just making sure the whole world, you know, anyone they met could meet them. So I think that was a big part of their growth, was just their hunger for, you know, just playing shows and making sure people knew about them. So it's cool.
And all of that obviously paid off. I know you guys were just up for a few different ACM Awards, one of which being Best New Country Act. So could you talk to us about winning those awards and the feeling of that and what it means for the band?
Yeah, we got Best New Artist, which was completely insane. I mean, last year at this time we were in a van. You know, we had a pretty decent buzz last year at this time, but to go like a year later to winning that award, I would show you the video I have on my phone of when we actually won, but there's too many explicit language because I dropped it and was screaming. It's like, what is happening? But yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe.
Like I said, I came on board because I love the guys, and it was just awesome. I've been watching them as they were opening for another artist I was out with and seeing all this just explode, and they're just good dudes, and it was so cool to see that happen for them. I mean, it was awesome. I felt a little verklempt.
Yeah, it was cool. They really treat us like family, and so it definitely felt like a win for all of us, which is cool to be a part of something that's just very much like we're all in this together, and we're all kind of winning this together. So it's been cool for them to, for all of us to be a part of it. It's exciting. So.
And it's really cool that you guys are all, one big family a lot of the time with artists or bands. Guys are just hired on, but you guys really seem like you're part of the band and part of the family, and that's great. Leads me to my next point. We see you're doing a ton of touring this summer, doing some dates with Taylor Swift and some other big, festival dates as well. What's it like for you guys to be on the road all together? And like I said, a hefty tour season for you. So a lot of shows coming up.
We're getting to know the smells of each other intimately. It's great. We're playing pretty much any venue you can think of, from really big clubs or small theaters to we're doing Cowboys Stadium next month, which is.
It's a small gig, right?
I think a small play. They got like some TV screen in there or something tiny. But yeah, it's nuts. And what's cool is being out with some of the people we're out with now is, I mean, they are, A-list, the biggest that you can get. So kind of learning from them and, watching their players and their crew. And I think we're all really, really grown from that. It's awesome.
Again, they're just good dudes. So I've known the guys in the camp for a while, and that was part of the reason I wanted to come out and hang out. I mean, the touring's been a blast, and it does have the family mentality, and everybody gets along. If there's an argument, it's kind of like a couple brothers, getting grumpy about something, but it's always handled amicably, and everybody hugs it out at the end of the day. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's been good. I don't know what else to say. It's been cool. Everybody that we've been touring with has just been super nice. The band and crew, they're super helpful. So I kind of feel like as you go from, small clubs to a theater to arena, there's new things to learn. And I feel like everyone we've been touring with has been really helpful with gear, what you should be doing. And, just learning from them how they deal with a stage 4 times the size that you're used to, So we've been learning a lot, and it's been cool. So.
Just curious, some of your influences as guitar players. I'm sure it's a wide spectrum and a tough question to answer, but maybe just as being country artists, tell the folks a little bit about who you listen to at home and who some of the players you like are. Sorry to ask a tough one there.
I actually grew up on metal and country, like a 50-50 mix. So as a kid, one day it was like Eddie Van Halen. Maybe more of a month. I go through month phases. And then next would be a session guy like Brent Mason or Dan Huff. And then some jazz guy, maybe Pat Metheny or something like that. But yeah, I'd go Eddie Van Halen and Brent Mason are probably my two favorites.
I'm all over the place.
I'm supposed to say I really love these guys.
Oh, yeah, I really love these guys.
Brian Bonds is one of my favorite.
Yeah, he. Yeah. Wow. I can't believe I'm sitting next to this guy. Almost had a martini.
No, you sound like one of our crews.
Yeah. That's an inside joke, by the way. Man, I grew up playing fingerstyle. Studied classical, and so there's that whole category, and then I got into jazz, and there's that whole category. And somewhere when I was younger, I'm a little older than I look. I heard Malmsteen's Rising Force album and freaked out, and then went and woodshedded for neoclassical because of the whole fingers classical thing. That was right in my wheelhouse. And then I just went down the whole thing. Studied Gambale for a while, Rittenauer, Pat Metheny. I don't know. My list has just been. it's stupid, yeah. And I suck, which is what's really sad about it.
As a bass player, I grew up in the orchestra, so like a lot of upright guys like Christian McBride. I loved Sting, obviously, but I mean Motown. Anything Motown is the end all for me. So
I do like country too.
And lastly, just want to talk to you about the Peavey gear that you're currently using on the road, and which models you're using, and what it is about Peavey that really helps your sound and do what it is that you guys do night in and night out. So,
Yeah, I'm using the 6505 Plus and absolutely love it. For a long time, I was playing all these like fancy schmancy this crazy pedal, and one day someone's like, dude, check this out. And when I plugged into it, he was there.
I saw his O-face. I didn't see that again.
It was unreal. And it was really funny. So when we first took it out on the road, we were sound checking, and one of the people we're out with, their whole crew was out there. And I won't say the other name, it's some little boutique thing. They're like, man, that amp is unreal. And our front of house guy was like, no, that's the Peavey. That's the 6505. And they're like, no way. So immediately they ran up on stage, and they're all turning knobs. And I'm like, seriously, it's what I love about it. You can get clean, you can get a little bit of dirt on it, or you can just get like in your face. And it's so versatile because the stuff that we're doing, I mean, it's country, but it's still kind of rocking. So I can go from like full on just power chords to chicken picking with stepping on a button.
I've been using Peavey stuff. My first amp was a Peavey. I had a Bandit 65 back in the day and a couple other combos. And I mean, all coming up through the clubs and everything, that's basically been what I've been using. Classic 30 combos and a few other things along the way. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to start working with Peavey is because of that history. I know how reliable that they are. I know that we're doing a heroic tour schedule this year. And I wanted something that I was going to have out on the road that I wasn't going to have to worry when I turned it on if sound was going to come out of it. I mean, as the basis level of like a need. And it's just awesome. I'm using the 3120. Another reason I wanted to go with that amp is to keep things a little simpler, to get rid of all my pedals. I wanted to have an amp that would do everything I needed. I wanted a great clean channel, I wanted a good crunch channel, and then a show me your O-face channel, which is what the red is, and it's badass. And we're using the new Sheffield cabinets, and they're insane. That's another one of those things. We rolled that out and plugged it into the heads. We had the heads out first and then rolled the cabinets out and plugged it in there. And our front of house guy was like, oh my God, everybody needs one of those. Yeah. They sound amazing. So it's just been great. You guys have been great. Do you want to say anything?
I'm a bass player. No one even knows I'm there. These guys get all the glory.
Coming soon, right?
Yeah, coming soon.
And one final question for you. We just took a look at the new Peavey AT200 guitar, and so in a word, what were your guys' thoughts about the AT200?
Yeah, I'm speechless. You should have had the camera on us as you plugged it in. All three of us were like, what? Unreal. Absolutely.
After what? It was want.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's badass. I just played it over there unplugged, and it actually, I mean, aside from the fact that it's just cool as shit, it plays amazingly well. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Well, yours will be on the way soon, guys. So we really appreciate you coming in. We want to wish you luck on Leno tomorrow from the whole Peavey family. And this is Brandon Marlin from Peavey Hollywood.